Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare and sometimes self-care. So if that's your vibe, please consider hitting subscribe. And today I want to talk about hydration. Oh yeah, I've got lots of videos on how to hydrate your skin, but today's video is about how to keep the hydration in your skin, which is a real essential step, right? I want to talk about 5 different tips about really kind of hugging and sealing the hydration into your skin so you can have juicy, plump, bouncy skin. Now, portions of today's video are going to be sponsored by Purito. They recently expanded their Dermide line, which is all about supporting a healthy skin barrier. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that a healthy barrier is really the very first step to hugging hydration into your skin. So if you're so ready to find out my 5 tips for keeping hydration inside of your skin, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. So my first tip is use a moisturizer. I know it sounds really basic and obvious, but it is actually a really important step to finish off your skincare routine with something that not only seals in your skincare, but really helps to hug in hydration and prevent transepidermal water loss. Looking for a moisturizer with a good mix of emollients and occlusives is really important, but I think it's also important to look for a moisturizer with some barrier supportive ingredients in it, because your moisture barrier is that first defense. And it's really one of the most important defenses against dehydration. And a barrier is basically what it sounds like. It is a barrier that keeps hydration inside of your skin, but it also is a barrier to outside forces like environmental pollutants, UV, pollution in the air, bacteria, any type of irritants. It helps protect your skin from the outside, but it also helps to keep your skin hydrated and protect it from the inside. And I talk about this a lot because it really is so important for healthy skin. If your moisture barrier is weak, you want to think about your barrier like having little holes in it, and that's where the hydration is escaping through and potentially the irritants are coming in from. So when you use like moisturizers with lipid replenishing ingredients like ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids, that skincare, those ingredients get into your skin, dive deep, and start to kind of plug up the holes, kind of like repairing the bricks, right? And it starts to make that barrier nice and strong again. And it just so happens Purito has recently made a great one. This is their Dermide Relief Barrier Moisturizer. This has 5 different types of ceramides, which actually make up 50% of your skin's moisture barrier. So a really important lipid to replenish your skin with, and a good mix of fatty acids, which also help to support your skin's moisture barrier. I love the texture of this. It comes in this airless pump. There's actually no metal components to this, and it is using recycled plastic, which I think is great. But look at this texture. It is kind of like this whipped, almost like airy kind of a moisturizer, and it just feels so good on the skin. It's just the perfect balance between a really hydrated feeling, a moisturized, balanced feeling, and just that little bit of occlusivity. And that's what keeps the hydration in place, along with all the beautiful ceramides, the cholesterol, the fatty acids, all those replenishing lipids really help your skin stay hydrated throughout the day. And this has honestly been my go-to recently because it has been really hot. Like all of a sudden it was like hot and humid, like 80 pushing 90 degrees. And as much as my barrier needs the help, and I definitely need to keep the hydration in, even in hot weather, you know, I don't want to be putting on something super heavy or super thick and occlusive. And this is just striking that absolute right balance between allowing my skin to breathe, keeping my moisture barrier happy, and fighting dehydration. If your skin is really dehydrated and dry, Purito has your back too. This is the Dermide Balancing Barrier Balm, and this is definitely designed for drier skin types. It's designed to offer a little bit more nourishment with macadamia seed oil and mango seed butter. So the Dermide Balancing Barrier Balm really has been my favorite out of this launch because this has been really serving my dehydrated, sometimes irritated skin. And balm is definitely something that's going to be more occlusive, something that is going to really lock in all your skincare much more than a moisturizer or a lotion. So that's really kind of where it fits in the line. It's definitely offering more occlusivity than the moisturizer is. And I find this really helpful on nights when my skin is feeling really like dry and dehydrated. I need a little bit more moisture and I need a thicker kind of last step in my skincare routine. I will reach for this. But I've also found this helpful for like multi-purpose uses too. You know that like the one area that's the driest on my entire face, combination skin problems, right, is right around my chin area. So sometimes I'll do a little extra TLC skincare there. That's where this comes in, and that's why I've been reaching for this so much, because I have to show you this texture. This balm, you can see it in the texture. So when I spread this, you're going to see that it's got that thicker kind of a look to it. You see that it's a little stiffer? So this is just like really occlusive. And sometimes like I'll use it as a full face moisturizer, like I said, when I'm feeling really dry. But right now, it's just my chin, upper lip area, and a little bit around the nose. So sometimes I'll just put it right here, just to give myself that little extra protection, especially when I go to sleep. This helps protect my skin from dehydration in the driest areas. It feels really like kind of like buttery, nourishing. It leaves your skin really, really soft, but it, like I said, it's got a stiffer, thicker, balmy ointment type of texture while still absorbing really nicely into the skin. You know, it's not like a greasy balm or like a really heavy ointment. This is not like Aquaphor or Vaseline, which sometimes does feel really oppressive on the skin. This is just like a nice lighter option to kind of sealing everything in with great absorbability. And my skin, like I just put it on, my skin just feels like, thanks for putting that little extra layer of comfort on. I've been using this so much. My skin has been benefiting from it so much. So my second tip is to avoid extremes. And I mean this in a few ways. You know, you definitely want to avoid extreme weather, too hot or too cold. You know, when you go outside on a really hot day and it feels like your pores are like tightening up, like so tight because like it's just so hot outside. Yeah, that's how hot weather can actually affect your skin's moisture barrier and might result in hydration loss because of that extreme like heat on your skin. It's not a good thing. But you know, on the other hand, think about when you go outside and it's extremely cold and harsh and maybe there's wind blowing and it feels like your skin is just so chapped and abused. That is also not good for your skin's moisture barrier. Take it from me. I live in Wisconsin. I know about harsh winter weather, right? So it's really important to try to avoid that if you can. Like some of us can't. Like I said, I live in Wisconsin. I do have to go outside during the winter months, so I can't really avoid it, but what I can do is get ahead of it. And that's when I'm starting to bring out the really good barrier supportive skincare, the ceramides, the cholesterol, the fatty acids. You know, really supplementing your skin with those ingredients does actually help strengthen your moisture barrier. It helps strengthen your skin, and that's what keeps your skin hydrated even in extremes. So it's important to know the effects of that on your skin. Avoid it if possible, but if you cannot, get ahead of it with skincare. Another extreme that you might want to be aware of is like a very dry climate. Now, maybe you live in an arid climate where it's just very dry outside, but you can also kind of create that environment inside with a lot of air conditioning or a lot of heating. So that's where I would suggest bringing in some humidity into the air with a humidifier. I always sleep with a humidifier because my bedroom does get very dry with air conditioning or with heating really all year round. So adding just a little bit of that humidity, a little bit of that water into the air can go a really long way to keeping hydration in the skin. My third tip is to use a facial oil, and they can really benefit your skin in a couple of different ways when it comes to keeping it nice and hydrated and juicy. You know, oils definitely do kind of hug hydration into the skin just by offering a little bit more moisture and offering another layer that just kind of like feels like it just hugs everything in. Now, not every oil has an occlusive property, and I think in the grand scheme of like occlusive skincare ingredients, when we're thinking like dimethicone and petrolatum, oils don't really offer a lot of occlusivity. And You know, you may want to use them as your final layer to kind of help seal things in, but just know that they're not the strongest occlusive out there, and not all oils function this way. But, you know, they can offer a little bit of that like insulation, if you will, right? So it's definitely good to look for an oil that maybe, you know, feels like it locks it in or hugs it in. But honestly, the biggest benefit that I've personally gotten from oils is when they've got a good omega-3, 6, or 9 fatty acid profile, because those lipids actually really are effective at replenishing the barrier and really making that lipid layer strong. And that's really what fights dehydration in the long run, right? Like a strong skin barrier, you know, before any other skincare that you put on your skin, that barrier is the first defense. So I think that oils definitely do add a little bit of that hug it in quality, but I think they can also help restore your skin's barrier. It's just about picking the right one. And when it comes to oils, you've got to pick them not just like on the profile that they're offering your barrier, but like on their texture too, right? So like the first one that I like to recommend to like oil newbies, or especially if you're on the oilier side, you're maybe a little bit concerned about what it's going to do for your skin, Squalane is really the best place to start because it is skin identical. You already have this inside of your barrier. It's already present in your skin, but it can be very effective to add it in topically. So most people respond to it very well. I can't guarantee anything, but most people do because it's skin identical and it has a very fluidy, really light, quickly absorbed feel on the skin. It's not greasy. It's not going to leave you like extra shiny. It's just got like a really nice light feel. And I think it's a great place to start, but also good if you do have oily skin. If you have combination skin, I personally love chia seed oil because it's got a great omega-6 fatty acid profile that's really good for your skin's barrier, but it also has more of a medium type of texture. It's not super duper light, but it's not really hefty or thick on the skin. It doesn't have like that really like oppressive type of feel. I have combination skin, and like chia seed, my skin just goes with chia seed. It just feels really, really good. And when my skin like feels a little bit irritated, inflamed, maybe my barrier's a little bit off, when I put this oil on my skin, there's actually like a little bit of a soothing effect that I get with it too. So this is a great one for combination skin. Now, if you have dry skin, argan oil is going to be something you want to look at. It's got a really good omega-9 fatty acid profile. That's what you want to look for when you have dry skin, because these are going to be some of the more nourishing, rich, thicker oils that are really going to replenish the moisture and the oil content on your skin and really help support your barrier, but it's going to have a little bit of a thicker, more protective, more moisturizing feel on your skin. That feels amazing when you have really dry skin. So my fourth tip for you is to try slugging. Now, this is a trend that has exploded in popularity recently, especially like on TikTok, but trust me, this has been around forever. This is an old school beauty technique. Like your grandma probably knew about this one. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is actually a very flexible trend. You just have to kind of open up your mind to the possibilities. So this is where you use a really thick, occlusive skincare product, usually like petrolatum based Vaseline or Aquaphor, and you slather that all over your face before you go to bed at night. And what it does is it really seals in all your skincare and it really stops the dehydration. So you wake up with really glowing, plump, bouncy skin. And the reason you're glowing in it, it's like bouncy and plump, is because you haven't lost any hydration or moisture from your skin as you slept, because you've basically created like a barrier, like a skincare barrier, if you will, on top of your face. It can be really effective to really lock in the glow, definitely. Now, you can really interpret this a couple of different ways. You can use this on top of your moisturizer, but you can also use it in place of your moisturizer. Be flexible with this. Figure out how it works for you, because I think this can actually be very helpful. And you don't have to use Vaseline or Aquaphor. You can if you want to. It doesn't work for everybody. Some people feel like their skin gets congested with it, or like their skin can't breathe. It's uncomfortable. Or like some people will put it around their eye area and they start getting like melia, right? So it's not going to work for everybody. Petrolatum is the most occlusive ingredient out there, right? Especially in Vaseline and Aquaphor, where they're using such high percentages of it. So while that's the traditional product, it doesn't have to be the only way to slug. You could actually slug with something like the Purito Barrier Balm. That's actually something I've been doing that I really, really like, because remember that texture, it's more occlusive, it's almost ointment-like, and it is creating that like temporary barrier on your skin. You can definitely use this as a slugging product. It's a lot more breathable than petrolatum, and it's not going to congest your pores. So that's definitely an option to go with. But I think one of the most foolproof ways to do slugging is actually to just use a good old sleeping pack. And Purito has you covered in this area too. This is the Dermide Cica Barrier Sleeping Pack. Now, this is the same sleeping pack that I've been raving about for years. This is the original Dermide product. Nothing has changed with the formula, but they have updated the packaging. And what I like about this sleeping pack is it's creamy, it's nourishing. There's sunflower seed oil in here, jojoba, squalane, we have ceramide NP, but it's still breathable. You know, especially if this is something you're going to put on top of a moisturizer. You don't want it to be super duper heavy, and this is not. This is just the right amount of like skin conditioning, softening, moisturizing. There's actually a little hit of like hydration to this, and then it's just that right amount of like protecting your skin from dehydration. It feels great. But what also feels really good in here is all the centella. We have centella extract, and then we have the 4 active compounds of centella. And I really think that those active compounds, those are what are bringing really intense, you know, anti-inflammation benefits, anti-irritation benefits. That's what's really reducing the redness on the skin, really healing up the skin and bringing all the antioxidant benefits that are found in the centella plant. They're just really highly concentrated, and I think it's always great to see them added in addition to the centella extract in any skincare product. And that's really what this mask is designed to do. It's designed to calm your skin down. The texture is great because it is moisturizing and kind of like that airy whipped lotion, a little bit lighter than the moisturizer in my opinion, but it does have some nice emolliency to it, some nice moisturization, a little bit of a hydrating feel to it too, and then that kind of nice, kind of like that slug quality, that occlusive quality that really helps to keep your skin hydrated as you sleep, which honestly, being prone to dehydrated skin, I mostly feel that when I'm sleeping. So it's always nice to kind of like throw on a humidifier too. If you're noticing that a lot when you're sleeping, it might be your air conditioning or your heating that's kind of drying out your skin. So I'm placing this right on top of the moisturizer. It feels really nice and light on my skin. It feels comforting too, you know, like when skincare just kind of feels like a hug on irritated skin. That's how this feels like. With all the centella in here, this is going to heal up that little raw area around my nose. Little bit of redness is going to be relieved, and it's going to keep my skin moisturized, hydrated. It makes your skin so soft and silky. And my complexion, I feel like too, when I use especially centella products, and there's so much centella in here, I feel like it really helps to reduce redness, which is great, because if you do always have a little bit of natural redness, you know that kind of like balancing that out or neutralizing that on your skin can really just make your complexion pop, make your beautiful skin shine through. And my 5th tip is don't forget the SPF. Yeah, sunscreen strikes again. It's always part of like any like skincare video advice, right? But it actually does play into keeping your skin hydrated, because remember earlier in the video we were talking about extremely hot weather and that feeling like when you go outside and the sun is really intense and it's beating down on your face and you can feel your skin just like tightening up, right? Like that pore tightening feeling. That actually is like the sun and the UV actually can weaken your skin's moisture barrier. UV really has a lot of bad effects on the skin. And we do know that the sun is definitely something that speeds up like the aging process of skin. We know that it can contribute to the destruction of collagen on the skin, resulting in fine lines and wrinkles. We know that it results in an uneven skin tone with like sun damage and melasma and things like that. But the sun and UV also can really push your skin's moisture barrier, which is going to result in a lot of dehydration, and that's going to result in not plump skin, not hydrated, juicy, bouncy skin. skin, right? So that's another way that the sun is actually affecting not only the health of your skin, but also is going to affect the aging process as well. So using sunscreen, protecting yourself from UV, is protecting your skin's moisture barrier. And you already know this, right? That's what's holding the hydration in place. Like, first and foremost, that's the first defense. We have to protect that moisture barrier, and sunscreen is one way to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed those tips. All the products that I talked about today are linked in the info box, and a big thank you again to Purito for sponsoring today's video. And I'm curious to know, do you have any tips for keeping hydration where it should be, which is inside of your skin? Let us know in the comment box below. Now, if you made it all the way to this part in the video, but you have not hit subscribe to my channel yet, please, I would be so honored if you would subscribe. I do release a lot of new skincare videos just like this one, like all throughout the week, so definitely consider turning on notifications so you're never out of the loop. I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. I'll talk to you soon. Love you so much. Bye.